How you doing? How you living? How you feeling here, folks? Back for another episode of the Bases Loaded podcast. I'm your host. My name's Zach. I'm back with my favorite co-host, Adam. How you doing?
Can't believe we've gone through all the divisions now, and here we are at the last one.
I know. Thank God. I never thought we were going to see the light of day. But, you know, we've been doing divisional previews, kind of looking at these teams, seeing how we're going to, you know, how it's going to shake out, who's going to be last, who's going to be first. You know, are teams going to move around in their division? Are there going to be some fun things happening? It's going to be very interesting. So right now, you know, we already have 5 episodes out. Please go watch all the other 5 episodes. You know, they explain how this works. They explain how it goes. So we're going to hop right into it for the AL West. We're going to get it going. At number 5, we got, well, of course, we have the Oakland Athletics. This team is dog shit.
Dog.
They're bad.
Garbage.
I don't want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. They got hit by the ugly stick too many times. Adam, got any more insults for them? We got to keep insulting this team because you know what? They play baseball like they're back in freaking 1908. They have no idea what they're doing offensively.
They play in a football stadium and in the back of of a garbage can of a city that is Oakland.
And that stadium's infested with a ton of shit. People were fucking in the stadium last year. You know what? The A's are probably the worst team in all of baseball again. And does that surprise you, Adam? Because it doesn't surprise me.
No. More people will show up to my funeral than go to these baseball games.
You know what? That's actually probably right. Yeah, I don't doubt that one. But you know, it's definitely interesting. You know, they have a couple pieces here and there. I mean, a lot of their starters are unproven outside of James Karinchak. James Caprillion, my bad. They're all, for the most part, unproven. You know, they went out, picked up Trevor May. They have some bullpen pieces. A lot of them are very, very young. You know, about a year of service time, maybe less. And they really don't have a lot in their lineup to offer. I'm surprised they haven't really done anything. I expect them to trade more pieces of guys who have actually had time in this league. Guys like Seth Brown, I expect to be moved. Guys like Jesus Aguilar, I expect to be moved. Even potentially Jace Peterson later on this year. This team is nothing more than what I would like to call a a mid-season trade deadline whore, because all they want to do is give. And they want that cold hard cash, baby, nothing but.
Give them all the cash possible without them spending a cent, and all the prospects that they will also eventually trade.
Yeah, so look, they're bad. There's nothing else to say here. Adam, give me their record.
A record last year, last in the division at 60-102.
Wow, that's actually pretty impressive because their over-under's at 59.5. So I don't know. I don't think this team I think they got worse, but they're always bad. They always find a way to be like halfway decent with shit.
I think they'll be. Can I weirdly say that I think they'll be even worse, and that I want to take the under?
Totally. You know what's funny? Just for shits and giggles, I'm taking the over because I don't know what to do with it. Because for some reason they're gonna win like 61 games, and I'm gonna be looking at you going, "Motherfucker,
how did you do that?
This team really went out here and won 61 games." But that being said, you know, I don't like this team. I wouldn't touch that line with a 10-foot pole.
No, there's no reason to talk about them anymore either.
That's what I'm saying.
No publicity, so then they get to move out of Oakland.
Boom. So we'll head on right down to our next team, a team that actually matters in baseball, and that's going to be the Texas Rangers. Now, Adam did talk me down. I wanted them to be better, and I hope they're better. I'm still salty about Jacob deGrom. I don't know about you.
Oh, of course.
But I like this team. I like Corey Seager. I like Marcus Semien. They have a great middle infield. I mean, Adolis Garcia is going to be a nice piece in the outfield for them. And that's on top of a guy like Nathan Lau, who's played great at first base since they've had him. You know, they got a lot of interesting things in this lineup, a lot of things to figure out, you know, see if Jonah Heim really is the guy, make sure Josh Jung really, you know, has everything under control. They didn't pick up a lot offensively this past free agency period, but they did work a lot on their pitching, something that's been very lackluster in past years. You know, they went out, they pick up deGrom, the bell of the ball. They go out there and they pick up Eovaldi and Andrew Heaney, 2 guys who are quality starters in this league who are going to give you good innings and actually be able to help this team win games. So I like the direction they're heading in. I mean, they even picked up Will Smith in the bullpen. They didn't do a lot there. So their bullpen's still a little shaky. It should be interesting. But What I will say is I do like their starting rotation. It'll be interesting to see if Odorizzi comes back or when he's going to come back with the arm fatigue, but I'm assuming it should be sooner than later. So I like this team, man.
I like this team too. The top, just like as in last year, the AL East had four teams above 500. This could very well be the same for all these guys as well. What it's going to come down to ranking wise in the division is in division games, and I think Texas just doesn't match up well against some of these teams, and mostly of my concern is the back end of their lineup. They got guys that can get on base and can hit the ball. I like Jonah Heim as catcher. He's a pretty solid catcher for the most part. But Robbie Grossman is just a mid player. Josh Young is young. Brad Miller is a good vet at the DH spot, so maybe he'll get some time. And Bubba Thompson has a really cool first name.
That he does. He does have a really cool first name, but he might be overtaken by a guy, Leody Taveras, someone who's played a little bit for them last year in the outfield. Someone who I would definitely say has something to prove. So I'd be intrigued to see how he does when he comes back from a strained oblique.
Yeah. So for the most part, obviously, DeGrom is going to be a really good piece to this team, win them plenty of games. And the rest of their rotation is also going to win them pretty good games. All have proven that they can be good starters in this league. And the top end of their lineup is also good. But for the rest of the teams in this division, I think they just have some extra better players, an extra piece here and there, and maybe a better bullpen than what Texas has.
Fair enough. So, yeah, I mean, we gave Texas a little bit of a spin. I'm still salty about DeGrom and probably will be for the next year until I watch Verlander ball out. But, yeah, so, Adam, how many games does this team win last year?
So the Rangers came in fourth last season at 68-94.
Oh, wow, that's bad.
Yeah.
Well, their over-under for this year is going to be at 81.5 games.
81.5. So, yeah.
Wow. It's
Wow.
an interesting mark. And I'm going to be
they-
honest with you, Adam, I think I'm going to take the under.
I think so, too. I don't think they're there yet. They need a couple extra pieces in that bullpen that might kill them in its couple games. Top end of the lineup's good. Bottom end needs work.
They still got some things to sort out. A lot of young guys, a lot of interesting pieces. Now,
I'll take
that
the
being
under.
said, I know we picked the under, but this is the one thing I will say about this division is that really the Rangers, the Angels, and the Mariners can all hop around between those
Definitely.
4 to 2 spots in the division. I think they're all gonna vie for that number 2 spot, and really, I mean, it's gonna be hard to overtake the Astros, but I think it's gonna be very interesting moving forward.
Yeah. These three middle teams are, without a doubt, can move within each other. It's all going to depend on head-to-head games, I think.
Oh, 100%. So, at our number 3, we have the Los Angeles Angels.
Yep.
Now, obviously, are we going to get Trout to the playoffs? That's what we're all hoping for. We're praying
Crossing
to
our fingers.
Jesus that he's going to get to the playoffs once in his career so we don't watch the Babe Ruth of the regular season,
Just not be able to watch him in October.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so disappointing, but I think we'll end up getting I think this is a good year for the Angels. They put in a little bit of work this offseason. They went out and they picked up Tyler Anderson, a pitcher. Really tried to secure that rotation. Reed Detmer's back for another year. He can develop a little bit, be a little bit stronger of a piece. They even went out and picked up some lineup guys, some guys I actually really enjoy and will all get run. Gio Urshela, he'll definitely be in that middle infield rotation, playing a little bit of second, playing a little bit of short. Probably play some third because Rendon's never healthy. So we'll see what happens there. And then on top of that, we also have a guy like Hunter Renfroe signing on this year. Big power bat. That'll definitely add a lot of juice to the lineup. Something that's been sorely missed in years past outside of Ohtani and Trout.
Very good trade.
And on top of that, you go out there and you pick up Brandon Drury. I like the pieces they got.
Yeah,
I think that they added a lot to this team. I mean, they even got, fan favorite Brett Phillips from the Rays. I like this team. I like the things they're doing. I think that it's going to be an interesting squad. And I think they have a lot of possibility, especially if a guy like Jared Walsh can step up in a year like this.
They definitely came out this offseason and started to spend a good money, especially on this lineup. Obviously, the trade for Hunter Renfroe and signing Brandon Drury. Obviously, not a big spend on Brendan Phillips, but they looked towards it and they addressed the problems that they had, especially what you said on that long ball. And Also, signing Tyler Anderson, who's coming off one of his best seasons from the Dodgers, is also a great number 3, maybe number 4 on this rotation. This rotation is now looking much better than it almost ever has in a very long time, and that has to be their focal point of this season, making sure that this rotation is solid, gets into games a lot deeper than it usually does.
And stays healthy.
Because
they're not very deep at the starting position like that.
No.
If their starters can't stay healthy, this team will collapse very quickly.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, they do have a couple halfway decent bullpen pieces. I think they could use a little bit of help in the bullpen. You know, guys like Ryan Tepera, Aaron Loup, Matt Moore, all great pieces. You know, they went out in free agency. They picked up, Carlos Estevez. I think they have some pieces here that can get the job done, but maybe we end up seeing them try to make some effort to go out there and get another reliever, get another quality guy just to hold down the fort, because it's going to be difficult coming late to these games. There's no defined starter. There's no defined closer to these games, so I think that's going to be a very interesting thing moving forward for the Angels to see what they do with that.
They're either going to find one within their bullpen, or if they're having a good enough first half of a season, they'll definitely go look out to find one. And that'll, without a doubt, help this team. I think what they did this offseason is definitely an improvement to what they were last year.
I agree, and I also think that something that really hasn't been talked about, it has been talked about, but not in this way. I think Ohtani, it's going to be very interesting with the the upcoming contract negotiations for the end of this year. You know, being on the Angels, will he get traded? Will he get this? Will he get that? I think that, I don't think he's going to get traded. I think you have to keep a guy like Shohei on your squad. But at the same time, I think if this team's able to win, not even win enough games, if they're able to just make the playoffs, I think that this team is going to be very able to keep Shohei Ohtani if they're able to make the playoffs for the first time in many years, because at least then we could finally see this team maybe going in the right direction. And a lot of this is going to, come down to the health of these guys. They need to stay healthy. It's a big issue for this team. I mean, come on, we got to see Rendon at least be healthy to see if he's worth the money they gave him, because as of right now, he's not worth a dime.
Yeah, that's been a low point for them. But hopefully, this might be the year. This might be the year.
I feel like we've been saying that every year Trout's been in the league.
This
might be it. This might be it. 11 years past. Shit, I thought it was it all 11 years. So we'll keep moving on down the line. At our number 2, whoa, my bad.
A crucial part of this. I like when you ask me about it. It makes me very important and happy. I don't want to skip over this moment.
Adam, it's your moment. Shine, you little star.
The Angels last year were third in their division at 73-89.
73 and 89.
Yeah, 73 wins.
Well, they had the same over/under as the Texas Rangers at 81.5 games. I don't know what I'm doing with that. Do you know what you're doing with that?
Yeah, I think since I know that in head-to-head games are going to beat the Rangers a little bit more, I'm going to take the over. I think they're finally going to get a good 500 season going here, and maybe make a push for the playoffs. We'll see. When you have the two of the best players in the league, you got to be making a push for the playoffs.
Barring all injuries, fat ass asterisk, they will hit the over on these games. Barring injuries, literally one guy goes down that's like semi-important, they're all fucked.
Yeah.
Shohei goes down, season's in the books. Don't even think about it. It's over.
They're closer to the A's than they are to the Astros at that point.
Which sucks, dude. How do you have 2 generational players and you're closer to the fucking A's than a good team? I don't get it. Oh my God! It just shows how bad their front offices and management has been on the, in the Angels franchise. That's really kind of sad. It really, it's a sad thing for baseball and baseball fans to not get to experience such a great team.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. So, we'll keep on going. We got 2 teams left in our second place finisher of the AL West. We have the Seattle Mariners, a team I think is going to be interesting. They got a lot of talent here, a lot of interesting things happening. We're going to see if Jared Kelenic can actually play baseball because, well, his first stint didn't go too well.
No.
So we'll see how he plays. They pick up a guy like A.J. Pollock just to, ensure that the outfield to have a couple guys there to make sure that, at least someone can be in the outfield and be a reliable piece out there. Mm-hmm. On top of that, they re-sign what's called Julio Rodriguez. Super excited for him. They also, they bring back, they still have Ty France. They bring in Oscar Teoscar Hernandez, a guy who's going to add a lot of pop to this lineup.
Yeah, great
Someone
trade.
I really like. Great trade piece. So that was an awesome pickup. They pick up Colton Wong to kind of shore up that second base spot. They did a lot of the little things here to really make sure that they're going to be able to be a quality hitting team.
Yeah, what made them so good last year was just quality pitching and quality hitting, and that's exactly what they are again, but I feel like even better with the additions that you just mentioned.
They didn't really lose much. I mean, you end up replacing Abraham Toro with Colton Wong. I think that's a wash. You know, you bring in Teoscar Hernandez. I think that's definitely an improvement in your outfield.
Definitely.
And even bring in a guy like A.J. Pollock,
Yeah.
It'll definitely help out your squad. I mean, he's a reliable bat in the lineup. He can play some outfield if Jared Kelenic doesn't work out. And if Jared Kelenic works out, I mean, holy shit, this team could be really fun.
Yeah, legit. They are legit from top to bottom. They do have a really solid lineup. Like even the bottom part, as J.B. Crawford is probably going to bat ninth. That's still solid. That's a great number 9 hitter. It's exactly where you want to put him. And I don't see a weak point in their bats, really. And even in their starting lineup, their starting rotation as we move down to that, is also great, set up perfectly. Luis Castillo tops it off with a great trade that they had last year.
Yeah, really came out into his own again, after he had a couple great seasons with the Reds, kind of slowed down, and then all of a sudden got traded and looked like a potential Cy Young candidate.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Luis Castillo.
Great cap to that. Robbie Ray is still a Cy Young winner and will still strike out a shit ton of people.
He'll still be a quality pitcher.
Yeah, Logan Gilbert is young, also be pretty quality for the most part.
Now, my only thing with Logan Gilbert is that he does have some great stuff. He's a great one-pitch pitcher. But really, we're going to need to see him develop those 2-3 pitches to, make sure that he's able to constantly get guys out. I mean, there was at one point where I watched him pitch against the Yankees early on in the last season where he threw one pitch the entire game. He just threw the fastball, and the entire game, he get the whole fucking team swinging. It was awesome. Like, he dominated that game against the Yankees, and I understand that I think it's a fastball. His one fastball has unbelievable stuff. So I like Logan Gilbert, but I want to see him develop more pitches. Obviously, a very young guy, very bright future. It's gonna be very interesting to see how he does going forward. But this starting Roto has a lot more to offer besides him. Ain't that right, Adam?
It really is too. Him and Gilbert and Kirby are my two vocal points of this. They're two very young guys at 25 years old that if they're able to keep a really good, consistent year and a good season, this rotation really won't have any holes in it as well. Marco Gonzalez is a great number 5 pitcher. He's your number 5, but he'll get the job done in the majority of the games.
Every team needs a pitcher that'll eat innings.
Yeah,
and that, if this is the guy, that's a perfect guy to do it because you know what, he'll give you a bunch of quality starts.
I wouldn't complain about it, and they're definitely not complaining about it either. And then now, even to their bullpen, pretty solid on the top part of it. Paul Sewald has had a really good year last year, had plenty of saves.
Yeah, Paul.
New York Met at one point. Andres Molinos also had a really good year last year and can also hold that down in that 8th inning spot.
They definitely got guys that can shove. I mean, let's not forget about guys like Diego Castillo, Matt Brash. I mean, another Met, Chris Flexen. They somehow find these guys that are able to do a very, very good job at getting through these innings. And you know what? I like what they have here. I'm excited for this team, and I even think that their bullpen is ready to go. I don't think they lost too much this season out. They lost Mitch Haniger, which does suck. He would have been a fun piece to kind of keep on this team. But really, during free agency, they didn't lose too much. Yeah, they lost Adam Frazier and, Carlos Santana, Mitch Haniger, nothing, out of this world. I really think this team has a lot of possibilities, a lot of places to go, and I'm pumped up. Now, I want to know what's going to happen if they're going to – I know Ken Giles, I believe, is still a free agent, their former closer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to get signed back to this team. I hope he does because it just makes another case for why this team is going to be so good this year. I think the Mariners have a lot of possibilities with that. So we'll see what's going to happen in the, next couple weeks, see how this team starts off the season.
Yeah, fun team. I think out of these last 3 teams that we talked about, they have the least amount of holes, least amount of weak points in their entire team.
I definitely agree with that. They're definitely one of the more fun teams by far.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was their record at last year?
Mariners were second in the division, made the wild card at 90-72.
Ooh, so this is going to be an interesting over-under at 86.5 games.
86.
Now, keep in mind, they did lose a couple pieces, but in places I would say that they did get better. I wouldn't say that, they lost Mitch Haniger. They replaced him with Jared Kelnick / AJ Pollock.
I don't know if you know this, though. Mitch Haniger, for the majority of the season, actually, he didn't come back until August with with a groin injury.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he did not, as good as he did in the back end of the season, he wasn't much of an impact for the majority of it.
Well, we're going to say that between him and Kyle Lewis, they were replaced by Jared Kelnick and AJ Pollock.
Yes.
I'd say AJ Pollock, we'll say even trade right there.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Kelnick, we don't know. That could be crazy great. That could be, maybe a little shitty.
Yeah.
But beyond that, getting a guy like Teoscar Hernandez in the outfield really does change that whole story.
Mm-hmm.
It really does make this team look a lot better. Yeah, they may have lost Adam Frazier, but they pick up Colton Wong. I mean, look, if anything, this team stayed the same, and they pretty much just added Teoscar Hernandez, which I love. They didn't do a lot this offseason, but they found a way to somehow still improve.
And that's all they needed to do. Just keep going forward, because I think they know they're not catching the number one team.
I know, but does that mean you're taking the 86.5 out?
I think I definitely am taking this 86.5. With a 90-win team last year, I think they can repeat, be a little lower half in the lower 90s wins, but still will definitely take the over on this one.
I'm going to take the over because I think they just hit 90. They either are 89 or 90 wins. I don't think they get too far past that. But I do like this franchise. I think they got a lot going for them. A lot of exciting young talent in the wings that are going to make this franchise one of the most fun to watch teams in the entire league.
Yeah.
So, Adam, it's not a surprise to anybody who our number one team is here.
Everybody knew it once they saw it.
Yeah, is it a shocker to you guys at home? Because there's no chance, no way, because we have the Houston Astros at number one, the most obvious pick in the entire world. Now, did they lose? What's it called? Did they lose anything this offseason?
Yeah.
Yes, they lost Verlander. They didn't lose a lot in the actual batting part of their team. Their lineup looks pretty much the same, except they did one huge thing. They went out there and they picked up former MVP Jose Abreu to add to this already stacked up lineup between Altuve, Tucker, Bregman, Alvarez, and Abreu. And on top of that, they even have Jeremy Pena backing him up in the back of the lineup. I'm liking where this team is going. They really did a lot to make sure that their team is going to be just freaking killing the baseball this year. They bat for good averages. They hit a lot of home runs. A lot of these guys are great bats to have in the lineup. So I'm very excited to see this team move forward. On top of that, does losing Verlander hurt, Adam?
Of course. Of course.
It always does, but not when you have the guys they have. Not when you have Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia, and Jose Urquidy. Not when you have that type of rotation. Because guess what? Those are a lot of young guys with a lot of special talent all on the same team. Look, we did see, I believe it was Framber, or was it Framber Valdez or Christian Javier who caught a nice little re-sign?
Christian Javier got a really good re-sign deal. Good for him. And not to be mistaken, they're going to bring up their pitching prospect, Hunter Brown, who many do say is going to be just as good as everybody else that they brought up. This entire rotation is players that they have drafted themselves, which is something you never see, and especially game of today, that players just constantly get traded and moved. It's incredible how well this team drafts their players and how well they're able to bring them up through the system.
Yeah, their developmental system is unmatched, especially at the pitching position. You haven't seen a lot of teams be able to do something like this, so it is very exciting. Now, they didn't do a lot to their bullpen. They really kind of kept their bullpen the same, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It means it's still pretty freaking good. Ryan Presley's back there. They re-signed Rafael Montero. They still have Brian Abreu. Don't forget about Hector Neris and Ryan Stanek. Don't even Phil Maton. Maton. They have a bunch of good pitchers, so I'm really not worried about this team at all. If anything, all they did is said, you know what? We'll swap out one MVP for a new MVP.
Yeah. And
they changed the side of the ball. So you know what? I think Jose Abreu will go a long way for this team this year. I think he's going to add a lot to this lineup and really make them one of the most difficult lineups to get past this year.
Yeah, without a doubt. Top to bottom, again, another solid team. Champions again. We'll be obviously looking for the gold prize this year once again, and rightfully so is one of the favorites. top to bottom, best lineup, best rotation in this division, and
by far.
by far, they'll just
They
keep
probably
winning.
have the best team in the AL still.
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest. I think they're definitely the best AL team around.
and they're just going to keep winning without a doubt.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy they just don't stop winning. So with that being said, what did our number one team finish at last year?
Last year, the World Series winners, Astros, won 106 games with 56 losses.
So currently their over-unders at 97.5, Adam. I'm taking it.
I'm taking that over.
I'm not even going to second guess it. I'm taking it.
They are easily an 100-win team. They're still, without a doubt, have the best roster, even after losing a Cy Young winner.
That's what I'm saying. From top to bottom, they're such a well-run franchise that they can lose a Cy Young caliber pitcher. Actually, the Cy Young pitcher, and they will recover. That's the craziest thing.
It's wonderful.
So I'm very intrigued to see how this does, how this goes going forward.
Yeah.
With all being said, Adam, you have anything you'd like to say to the folks at home? I mean, we're wrapping up this series, getting ready for opening day.
Yeah, opening day is right around the corner, and I can't wait. I'm going to be watching all the games, especially our Mets, seeing how all these games go, and I'm definitely going to look back on these videos, see how well we did, how well we predicted these teams. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, just wait till the end of the season, Adam. I'm going to be coming back, with some red hot takes about this. We'll be talking about her, once the season goes. See how accurate our predictions were. So, with all that being said, from us at the Idiots Podcast Studio and the Podcast Network, we'd like to thank you for coming out. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day. Go enjoy some baseball.